Good evening. Today's Tuesday, April 16th, 2024, and this is our regular board meeting of the School District of Springfield Township. Since our last meeting, we've had academic affairs, we've had policy, we've had an earthquake, an eclipse. We've had all of these things with equal weight on our lives. So we'll look forward to some of the updates this evening. Let's first stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For a reading of the mission statement, we will turn to Dr. Taratusky.
The mission of the School District of Springfield Township is to educate and develop all students as learners and citizens who are high achieving, resilient, and responsible in a changing global community.
Let's move to roll call, please. Ms. Green.
Mr. Needleman.
Here.
Mr. DeFranco.
Here.
Mrs. Green.
Here.
Mrs. Hubley.
Here.
Mrs. Hughes. Dr. Taratusky.
Here.
Mrs. Bell.
Here.
Mr. Jordan.
Here.
Mr. Bedard.
Here. And just one announcement this evening. The board, at its discretion, may videotape all or any portion of public board meetings subject to the limitations set forth in policy 006 meetings. Board meetings will be broadcast on Friday afternoons following the board meeting. And we'll get right to our reports and information. And I believe online we have from our homeschool partnership, Ms. Christia Donahue. Christia, we have you online, but I see that your line is muted. So, Mr. Wexler, can we adjust that? Is that possible? All right, let's move to our next report and we'll come back to the homeschool partnership update. So our next report is from our Multicultural Parents Association. We have Dr. Beal Taufik is here in person.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Right? An eclipse and everything else. Believe it or not, I was in a dental chair and I felt nothing. So you guys should go there. No. No, but thanks so much. We're glad to be here today. So MPA will be celebrating Mental Health Awareness Month with a free yoga event for adults. On Monday, May 6th at 6:30 p.m., join us in the Erdenheim Elementary School gym for a mindfulness event led by a certified yoga instructor. On Wednesday, May 8th at 6:30 p.m., MPA will hold its last meeting of the year, where we will hear updates from VOE, the LGBTQ+ parents, and from the middle school Jewish affinity students groups and clubs, We will also be sharing information regarding International Water Safety Day and Awareness Day. More information can be found in our respective school e-blasts on all upcoming events. Yay, that's it. Thank you. No.
I believe so. Wonderful. Ms. Donahue, you can go ahead.
Hi, I'm so sorry about that. 'Tis the season for sick kids, so I had CHOP calling me back right as I was supposed to speak. I apologize.
Oh, no sweat. All good.
Okay, so we have had a really busy month. We had 4 very successful family fun nights that are back this year. We had first grade, We had third grade, fourth grade, and fifth grade. So, oh, and kindergarten, excuse me. We just had kindergartens last week. It's just a blur. So it's been an amazing month or so. And we have one more coming up for second grade in early May. And then we'll have done all of our family fun nights again this year. And we've had a really great response to them. We had two very successful book fairs at each school, raising approximately $8,000, the most we've ever raised with our book fairs. We attribute that to our family nights we were able to have and just the excitement of everybody being able to just come back and shop in person again. We had our designer bag bingo, which was a great success with about 150 attendees, and Mr. Gibson from Erdenheim, the music instructor, was our amazing MC, and we were able to raise about $6,500 from that event. We are now promoting our Color Day t-shirts for sale. There's a logo design contest every year by the 4th and 5th graders that Mrs. Forjohn helps with. And our board and committee chairs chooses the winner. And this year it was 5th grader Jesse Sign. And it's a really lovely shirt with his Spartan design on it. And we'll be selling those shirts through April 26th for students to be able to wear on Color Day. And then last but not least, we are preparing for our final big event of the year, which is our carnival on May 19th. And so we're looking forward to starting our ticket sales for that very soon. I also was going to give the report on the secondary on their behalf. And together we are working to plan the Staff Appreciation Week, May 6th through the 10th. We're very excited to put some fun ideas together. We don't want to give away any surprises, but another really nice luncheon for everybody and some other surprises throughout that week. So we're working together on that. And then I know the 8th grade team is also working on their end of year events as well. Oh, and then our 5th grade team as well has all of their big events coming up, their glow party and the yearbook signing and all of those fun activities to round out their elementary years. And I think that's it.
Awesome. Great update. Thank you very much. Any comments or questions from the board? All right. Thank you, Ms. Donahue.
Thanks.
Now we'll move to one of my favorite reports, the student representative report from Ms. Nia Kennedy.
At Enfield, throughout April, they've dedicated themselves to honoring autism acceptance and neurodiversity awareness. They will be celebrating this day on April 26th. On April 5th was Hats On for Cancer, rallying together for Spirit Day to promote cancer awareness. It was great to see so many students and staff participate as well as raise funds for a meaningful cause. April 8th presented us with an awe-inspiring sight of the solar eclipse, a moment cherished by all at Enfield. They thanked Dr. Yannicone for extending the day to ensure their students could witness this rare phenomenon. At Erdenheim, during the weeks of April 8th and April 15th, 5th grade classes visited the middle school to join 6th grade homerooms to learn more about the middle school experience. On April 11th, they had the return of Speeder Kids Running Club for a spring session. Students are excited to get outside to run this spring. Also beginning on April 22nd, they will begin their 2024 PSSA assessments. At the middle school, in preparation for their day of service on May 10th, 2024, Springfield Township Middle School will hold a penny war this week, April 15th through the 19th. Each homeroom will have a jug into which students will deposit any spare change to the donation. This also will administer PSSA testing on April 23rd through the 24th, April 29th and 30th, and May 1st and the 2nd. At the high school, our high school is one of the 7 schools that participated in the inaugural Make-A-Wish Foundation Rising Star program. Students Sarah Aboud and Cameron Lecoyle led the fundraising campaign for STHS. The total that the 7 schools raised was $73,866.11. We would like to thank the community for making this fundraiser a success. Juniors and seniors are invited to the Newman University 2024 College Fair, 100 institutions from the tri-state area and beyond will be in attendance to share information. This year's fair will be held on April 17th in Newman University Miranda Center for Sport, Spirituality, and Character Development, 600 Convent Road, Ashton, PA. The morning fair will begin at 9 a.m. and run until 11:30 a.m. That's all I have. Thank you.
Exceptional update, and especially that donation amount. That is really incredible work by all 7 schools. Incredible. Yeah, any comments or questions? All right, thank you, Ms. Kennedy. Now to Ms. Hubley's favorite report, the policy committee report.
I know, I'm a little offended that this isn't your favorite report. The policy committee met on April 5th at 8 a.m. virtually. In attendance was Nathan Bray, Kara Green, Dr. Yannicone, Sean Jordan, Zara Hughes, and myself. Tonight, I'm going to review several policies that are on the agenda to be approved, most of which just have some revised change of wording. The first one is policy 200, enrollment of students. This policy has been amended to include exceptions for proof of residency for 2 classes of students: those who identify as homeless, foster care, or educationally unstable, and children of active duty military families. The next policy is policy 202, eligibility of non-resident students. This policy is amended to reflect language of children of active duty military families and the need for the district to follow guidance issued under the Interstate Compact on Educational Opportunity for Military Children and for students who register through an affidavit. In addition, there are a variety of reasons why leases and home agreements fall through, and then they become incumbent on the district to follow through on home investigations. Furthermore, there's a former student section in this update to include language for seniors to remain with or without tuition based on their circumstances. Policy 217 is about graduation. This policy has been amended to reflect a change that the district shall provide support to help on-time graduation for children of active duty military families. This amendment is consistent with a new policy 254. Policy 254 is an educational opportunity for military children. This is a new policy designed to support the unique challenges faced by children of military families due to frequent moves and parent deployments. This policy directs the district to enroll students in a timely manner through alternate residency criteria and to help place students in appropriate courses, to support enrollment in extracurricular activities, clubs, and supports, and to help with on-time graduation. Policy 610 is purchases subject to bid and quotation. This is modified to allow the business department to adjust practices based upon annual thresholds as set by the Department of Labor and Industries. Policy 626 is an updated procedure for the procurement of federal programs. Policy 810 is about transportation. Title 75 provides that the districts may install exterior cameras to allow automated reporting of drivers who violate the stop arm measure during a bus stop. Springfield Township School District has chosen to date not to utilize this option for our school buses, nor to draft an AR regarding this policy. In this policy, we also have reinstated distance requirements for zones of transportation. So we restored the language as it existed prior to the last revision. And lastly, policy 903, public comment in board meetings. This policy was amended in 2022 and now includes a draft proposal that provides for greater specificity regarding public comment periods. It's up to the board whether to revise the policy at this time based upon PSBA recommendations or to keep what we already have. So that is my update from our policy committee meeting.
Thank you. Any comments or questions for Ms. Hubley? No? All right, and rounding out our committee updates, we have And this is the favorite report of 4 of 9 board members, is what I understand. Reporting this evening, Ms. Carly Green on academic affairs.
It's feeling some kind of way. We kept calling everyone else the favorite. But I truly know that this is your favorite. The Academic Affairs Committee met April 9th, 2024 in a Zoom webinar at 5:30 p.m. The committee members present, Dr. Karen Taratosky, Eileen Bell, Carla Green, Amy Hubley, Dr. Mary Jo Yannicone, Dr. Damon Johnson, Olivia Tao, which is our student representative. We had additional panelists, Dr. Chuck Rittenhouse, Dr. Zach Fuller, Mr. Ben Spicer, Dr. Megan Markle, Dr. Scott Schragen, Ms. Kate Whitaker, and Ms. Carol Bean. So you can see it was quite a number of people on that Zoom. First topic was proposed course, resource, and text adoptions. The administration and teacher representatives reviewed recommended resource adoptions with the committee for approval. Upon approval of items following questions and some additional information, all items were approved to be placed on the board agenda for a full vote on this evening. The recommended adoptions are high school computer science, high school computing for humanities is called Starting Out with Python, high school AP psychology, recommended selection, Myers Psychology for AP course 4th edition, high school ELA, classroom independent reading collections, recommended selection, Perfection Learning, K through 8 math resource extension, K-5 Envision and 6 through 8 Envision, and then middle school ELA, recommended selection, Amplify middle school ELA. Just want to point out the prior mentioned resources and text adoptions include student editions, some digital resources, online resources, and Amplify includes professional learning. Next, revised science quote. Dr. Johnson updated the committee that after continued requests to the publishers, HMH has agreed to provide an 8-year service agreement for middle school science program, HMH Science Dimensions. This recommendation was previously approved by both the Academic Affairs and the full board for a 6-year agreement. The additional cost of $57,305.15 were agreed upon since the updated offer of 8-year agreement came to the district just after the recent March board meeting. The agreement is proceeding today upon approval from the Academic Affairs Committee. Next, pending board motions that will be voted on today. 2 other motions. These are new approvals for the coming year for products that have been used for a number of years in the district. Dr. Johnson provided an overview of the 2 products and shared their full purpose. Both were approved to move forward with a full board vote. The products are a comprehensive data resource called Linkit, and then also Renaissance. Next, administrative and professional learning project presentation. Dr. Johnson, along with the building representatives and Dr. Yannicone, provided an overview of an instructional leadership project happening in our district this year. Building administrators are working together to complete paired walkthroughs at each building. They are discussing and exploring the ways in which teaching and learning are expressed in each building and extending their thinking about ways to support our teachers across the district. The project has yielded opportunities for further instructional leadership and collaboration between and across all building administrators. Next, calendars. The administrative team presented the proposed calendars for the next 3 years. They are on the agenda today for this evening, rather, for a full vote. There's an addition of 1 virtual professional learning day in the calendar, which results in 179 school days for students. Additionally, in school year 2026-2027, due to the late Labor Day start, the first day of school will be August 31st. There was some discussion about this amongst the committee about ways in which this change impacts families and students. Finally, flexible instructional day application. Dr. Johnson informed the committee that the district will be completing the 3-year renewal application for flexible instructional days in the coming weeks and will be placing this on an upcoming board meeting agenda. There was no public comment at the meeting, and our next meeting date is May. In May, there's a tentative date that has not been set yet, but the topics that we will be discussing are course approvals, K-5 health, and middle school science. And we encourage you to virtually attend the committee meetings so that you can fully participate and ask questions and receive feedback. Thank you.
Excellent report. Any comments or questions for Ms. Green? How long was this meeting?
Was this
Just-
One was an hour, the one before that was about
Yeah.
hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, you guys are putting in the work. Based on attendance, that is clearly the favorite of all committees. Good job. All right.
Can I just echo, sorry, just one of the screen's last comments. And I know we've said this before, but there's been some questioning of the board by members of the public, whether we debate at meetings and things like that. The real work and the push and pull and the debate happens at these committee meetings. This is really just a business meeting. So I just want to echo what Ms. Green said, that please, if you can, members of the public, attend these committee meetings, speak up, be heard, ask questions, participate however it goes, whatever you want to do. That's really where the hard work happens. That's where the push and pull happens. That's all. And with that, thus endeth my public service announcement.
Well done. Okay, I will turn it over to Dr. Yannicone for her superintendent report.
Thank you, Mr. Bedard. I have a few brief pieces of news and announcements that haven't already been covered by the other presenters this evening. The National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association announced that Mr. Joe Ferraro, our athletic director, has been recognized as a certified athletic administrator at the national level. To earn this distinction, Mr. Ferraro has demonstrated the highest level of knowledge and expertise in the field of interscholastic athletic administration. The voluntary certification process included a thorough evaluation of Mr. Ferraro's educational background, experience, and professional contributions, as well as a rigorous, comprehensive written examination. And again, this was voluntary and unnecessary, quite frankly, but he pursued it, and we're very proud of him for doing so. This recognition places Joe among an elite group of interscholastic athletic administrators nationwide to attain this level of professionalism. So we're really proud of Joe and happy for him and for the district. I also want to share that this week, the Springfield Township High School Lunch and Learn program was featured in Ed Week, which is a national publication dedicated to highlighting positive trends in K-12 education. Dr. Scragan, one of our assistant principals at the high school, is quoted in the piece, and the piece was completed during his attendance at the National Conference for Assistant Principals of the Year in Washington, D.C., where he was able to spend 3 days with, I think it was 48 of the 50 assistant principals were able to make the national conference, get some fantastic professional development, and obviously some wonderful positive press for the district on our Lunch and Learn program. So really proud, and we'll be happy to share that Ed Week article in my upcoming newsletter. I also wanted to share that this evening, we have some members of our cabinet that traditionally attend this meeting. Mr. Charles Watley, Dr. Damian Johnston, and Dr. Zach Fuller are all attending the Township's Land Development Committee meeting. That happens to be also at 7 o'clock this evening at the Township building. They are there in order to present the middle school project for the next phase of approvals with the Township, and we're looking forward to some good news at the end of the evening. And we plan on a property committee meeting next month to update the community on the project. And to Mr. Needleman's point just a few minutes ago, anyone who's really interested in the middle school project, where we are with design and construction plans, we encourage you when that property committee meeting is scheduled, and I'll include the date in my newsletter in a few weeks. Please join us for the meeting. We'll be happy to give you a lot of information about where we are with this project. In addition, we have an agenda item this evening requesting a substantial amount of funding for a renovation of the Springfield Township High School large group instruction room. And the funding for the project is planned to come out of our $10 million bond, which was obtained by the district last year. So I wanted to invite Mr. Lutz and Dr. Rittenhouse to come forward to present some information on the project to assist the board in making an informed decision. Traditionally, you know, we may have discussed this at a property committee meeting. Our timing right now, and the reason why we brought it forward prior to property committee, is that if we are able to approve the project this evening, we have a much higher likelihood of having the project completed for the first day of school in late August, early September for staff and students. And we'd very much like to be able to do that. So Dr. Rittenhouse and Mr. Lutz, if you could share a little bit of information about this project so the board can make a good decision a little later in the agenda.
Certainly, thank you. You can see a picture of the LGI. That is from the back, about 3 steps back, looking forward towards the front. LGI is large group instruction. We feel that that should probably be renamed because it was, I've inherited that name. It seemed like a name without a final noun, large group instruction. And, but I inherited that when I began here 11 years ago. Our corporate memory here at the controls back there, we think it was renovated in 2002. So approximately 22 years ago. And we use the LGI all the time. And our goal is to transform the large group instruction room into a versatile high-tech space, as you see, enhancing its functionality and impact on students. And again, that's a bigger picture. You can enter on the door on the left if you haven't been there. You see the double screens to the top, and that's, you see the projectors up top, and then the whiteboard underneath. And then it's your traditional college seating, which is popular, and we'll have something similar as we move forward. It's a room we love. And as an instructional space, there'll be a podium in the front that'll be interactive touchscreen for smart presentations, and there'll be a video wall which will be above, which will replace the 2 screens you currently see, and that'll have enhanced visuals for students and staff. Seating will be auditorium style seating with desks for note taking. If you're doing any college visits, or if you think of your time in college, it'll be that type of approach. Seating will be auditorium style seating with desks for note taking, meaning you'll sit in a traditional chair, but then you can bring the note taking desk up and push it over. So if you would be watching a presentation and not taking notes or work on your computer, you could just simply sit in the chair like you're in a movie theater. But then if you needed to use your Chromebook, if you're a student, if you're a staff member, you could bring that desk over and fold it over. And then it's a collaboration space with a blackboard in front of the room. So the visuals, the technology is up top, and then down below will be a blackboard where you can write. So it can be traditionally writing on the blackboard, almost as a maker space. And then up above will be the technological area. And the collaboration, the space will be a student showcase. Students can do speeches in there, TED Talks, performances. I've been blessed to be invited to the play the last 2 years, and a little easier this year, just walking across the stage and then running off as opposed to singing a song last year. So, but it's really cool to be in that room. It serves as a place that the students rehearse and get ready for the play. It'll help even more that we could put the play right up on the screen, and there are speakers that go into the auditorium. So, and we can also use it as a black box theater, which would be theater for 100 or less people, as opposed to 875 in the current, if we would do a smaller play or performance. So we could certainly do that. Staff training, we use it all the time for that, in-service sessions, staff presentations. We think with the new seating, we'll be able to bump up the seating about 20 from about 80 to about 100. Student meetings, obviously a club space for both before school, after school, during lunch and learn. We use it all the time now. An extra team room for our sports teams and activities, and community events, family presentations, board meetings, anything along those lines. Extracurricular activities, esports shoutcasting, our esports team, we got up and running thanks to your financial support very quickly, and we are a competitive team in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, thanks to Dr. Maharaj and his students, and really got that up very quickly, and they travel all over the state. And also we have our esports room now there, and esports shoutcasting, meaning there can be live commentary during the tournaments, meaning there are announcers who announce what they're seeing in esports, just like a regular sports program, like regular sports programming, and that could be done in that room. Drama productions, again, school plays and musicals, with 100 people or less right in the front. And then film screenings, we could have a student movie showcase. We'll be at the Greenfield Film Festival in a couple of weeks, which I go over to at Upper Dublin High School every year. And that will be a great place to have kind of a smaller film screening, and that's for extracurricular activities.
All right. So what's the technology look like that we're putting into the space? So it really is going to be cutting edge visuals. We're going to put a video wall. It's 16 by 9. It's going to pretty much replace what the two screens that you saw there. It's about the same size, maybe a little bit smaller. The nice thing about a video wall is it actually allows you to put multiple inputs into it. So unlike a projector, projector projects one thing. With a video wall, you can have 6 different things in different sizes as you go through there. So it really will enhance. An example would be if a teacher is doing say a Zoom meeting with another class across the country. They can have that Zoom meeting up there and then also have the presentation or what they're trying to do on this screen. Mentioned esports. Esports, you can actually see all 5 players playing at the same time as well as the score. And there's many other ways we can utilize the multiple inputs that go into the video board. We're going to do the touchscreen podium, which means the teacher will have a smartboard like style because they'll have that touchscreen in front of them so they can write like they would on a smartboard. Because it's so high, they couldn't really do that, right? So they can write on that. So that's a good enhancement. And the other thing is there's going to be a confidence monitor. So if you're presenting, so like right now, the screen's behind me, you'll actually see up high what the presentation says, so you can not have to keep looking back at the screen. So that confidence monitor will help students if they're doing student presentations, but it'll also help the teachers if they're presenting or a presenter or whatever. So a pretty cool concept there too. So this is pretty cool. So there's going to be intelligent LED lighting. The lighting is actually going to be T-bar lighting that will go in between the 2 ceiling tiles, and they cross-section them, and you're able to change the color of them. So it really can enhance the space in the room. So if you have a theme for a play or something, you could put the colors in there in the ceiling. Esports, you can get that like gamey feel if you want. If you decide to use it as like a theater, you can color it based on, students creating their own videos and own movies. They can set the color if they want to that. That's pretty cool. They're also going to have safety illumination, which means there will be lighting, LED lighting along the steps as they walk up and as they walk in if it's dark. So sort of like a movie theater. And then the control interface, the cool thing is there'll be right near the podium, there's going to be a control interface that will integrate with the video, the audio, and the lighting. And you can also put that on an iPad, so it's mobile. So you can be sitting in the back, you can make changes too with what we're looking at for that interface. The sound, so there's going to be, right now, there's no sound in there for microphones and lavalier mics, so we're going to put that in there. There's also going to be sound reinforcement, which will be a microphone that sits in the back of the room. So if a student's in the back of the room and asks the question, it will actually enhance that to the teacher so they could hear, because it's a pretty large space. It also will help with Zoom meetings and stuff. You do author visits or anything like that through Zoom. There's also going to be assisted listening. So for ADA compliance, you have to have if you have a hearing aid, you have to set that up to Bluetooth, so integrate right with the system. So that will be in there as well. And then we're upgrading the speakers, and it's also going to have surround sound. So a theater aspect to the room as well. So renovating the space, and Dr. Rittenhouse has covered a lot of that. So the theater seating originally seating is going to be pulled out. We'll have 10 auditorium chairs with desks. New flooring is going to be put in. It's just going to be carpeting and new nosing on the stairs. The acoustic paneling that's in there, if you've been in the room, it's a little yucky looking, for lack of a better word. We're actually going to cover that and keep it because it's very expensive. So we don't want to, that was a cost we didn't want to incur. And then facilities is going to be painting the walls and cleaning up the space itself. Like we'll be removing all this. I'm going to show you some pictures, but there's a lot of stuff in the front of the room. All that's going to be removed. It's just going to be a clean black wall with the video wall and speakers. So it'll be a very nice, clean looking space when we're all done. So this is what it looks like right now. I took a couple pictures there. That old seating, I can't believe there's actually 80 seats in there. they pull out, that's all going to go, and it's going to be the auditorium seating. And you can see the screens there. So here's a little bit bigger picture. The company we're working with sent me this image, sort of like overlaying what it'll sort of look like. It doesn't give it justice, but at least it sort of gives you an idea. So they put the video wall there where it is, and then the lighting in there. They sort of grayed out the picture that we had. They haven't created a 3D rendering yet, but they will if we move on with the process, and I can give you better detail on what it's going to look like and everything like that. So that is the future large group instruction room. So thanks for your time.
So I really appreciate the presentation. I asked Mr. Lutz and Dr. Rittenhouse to do this presentation about 36 hours ago because I thought it was important that the board understand really completely what the project is. At the beginning of the year, when Mr. Lutz came on board, one of the projects that I asked him to be working on this year was the large group instruction room for several reasons. One, the space, I think, is an underutilized space at the high school from an instructional standpoint, also from a professional learning and activities standpoint. And in large part, I think that's because it is an uncomfortable space. The seating and the way the desks are currently arranged and they're built into the floor make it a very dated, sort of staid, limiting space for learning, for professional development. And so I asked him to do some dreaming about what could we in the future be utilizing this space for. We have very few large group instruction spaces in the district beyond the really large auditoriums. And so I wanted to think about something that was sort of a mid-size opportunity. And they've worked all year to think about all of the ways in which we might utilize the space. And I think Dr. Ritt and Mr. Lutz have done a nice job of explaining some of those areas. One of them that is sort of exciting for us is the idea that esports are becoming so big that there's this idea that we need arenas where fans could come and watch the esports underway. So we have some really engaged, I'll say, esporters who are participating in the activity, but they would love to have fans be able to come. And in some school districts, they're looking at gymnasium spaces being converted. But as you know, we have a really robust athletic program, so we'd like a space that could regularly be available. And the esports lab is just in front of the large group instruction room. So it's a nice way for them to be able to practice and then come in and play. In addition to that, we have a number of increasing virtual activities for students on an instructional level, whether that's visiting professors who come and speak to a group of students. For example, we've had some career days, business opportunities, STEM days, where we've had professors come in and speak. This would allow us the opportunity to bring 4 or 5 classes into the large group instruction room and digitally be able to experience a professor. In addition to that, visiting authors and artists, et cetera, there's lots of ways for us to bring in outside speakers in this space. And it'll also be a really exciting space for professional learning. And at the end, I think I'll just share with you when we get to that motion, which is I think the last motion in the agenda this evening. The funding for this would be coming out of the bond from last year. So Ms. Green has taken a look at the ways in which we can utilize those funds, and some of our larger group projects are where we've allocated those resources. So this would fall within the bounds of what we've suggested we would use the funds for previously. And I know they're happy to take any questions you have, and I'll leave us there with this portion of the presentation. Any questions or?
I'll jump in since you just talked about the source of funding. If you could just be specific about the impact on the operating budget ongoing. Does this have an annual impact above and beyond where we are today?
So I'll let Ms. Green answer that.
I'm going to actually defer that to Mr. Lutz. I don't think there's any licenses or anything that comes along with this. It would be the renovation, and once everything's in,
Yeah, not that I'm aware of, but I'll check.
in the
Sure.
future, this might garner some different ideas, and some brainstorming on the use of the room. So that would be, dealt with in the normal budget process. It wouldn't be an add-on to the budget. But as far as what is happening here, it's, what you see and what the quote is.
Is that the question you were asked? I want to make sure that's the question you were asking, or were you asking more about are there ongoing costs?
Yes,
For
by
for the
doing this
funds
reservation,
themselves?
do we end up with a higher cost base next year than we have this year?
No,
Mhm, mhm. Were there any other, did you look at any other companies, any other quotes? Did you compare? What other places can provide? I don't know.
We did. We ended up we had 3 other quotes. This company could actually do everything. They could do the furniture and the carpet and stuff like that. The other quotes we had were for the video board. It's the heavy cost is the video board. The video board we ended up going with was actually a better and a little bit bigger size with what they gave us compared to what we had quoted. But if you look at that, relatively, they were cheaper. I mean, they were more expensive, but we got a bigger board. So
Okay.
that makes sense.
I can also speak to the furniture. We had K-12 quote this in 2018 to do the stadium seating, and that quote was about $60,000 in 2018.
Okay.
So we had them come out and take a look, and they were gonna update that quote. But the quote that the company All-in-One did, stadium seating with the desks, and the quote previously did not have the desks on it, it was $60,000. So knowing what inflation has done over the years, since 2018, I know the quote that we got from K-12 would have been higher,
Okay.
and that was anticipated, so.
Okay. All right. And how did you source ideas for the use of the room?
So how many times did we meet in that room? So yeah. We talked to staff, we talked to students, we talked with my team. I mean, we've been talking about this for about 4 months probably, and gone in the room thinking about ways we could use it, what it should look like. So we wanted to make sure it was a space that was, used during the day, but also being able to use at night. And we feel like there's just a ton of different things that we can do with the space. And I think what we put forward really allows to do a lot of different things in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
I do have a question. Maintenance warranty of the equipment. Is this, I don't see that in the quote, so how is this gonna be in?
So try and think if I remember, we get, so the video board, that's, we actually get 3 extra panels. So I think it said 2 or 3 years, if I remember correctly, but I can double check that. But we actually get extra panels, and if one goes bad, so some pixels can go wrong. So the cool thing about the video board is it's actually 16 inches by 9, and they put all these panels together. So if you have one that goes bad, you actually vacuum it off and you put the new piece on, so we can replace it ourselves, and you send it out to get fixed. But I think it was 3 years, they said, on the panels themselves. So
Well, that's 3 years warranty on.
3 years warranty, and they said that this should last us 15 years. I mean, they don't, unless it's a high, like you're on a highway, they said it's not something that goes bad. I mean, you don't get pixels going very easily, very quickly. It doesn't happen very often. But I mean, and then let's say we do have some panels that go bad, we can send them after warranty, we can send them out for repair, or we can buy single panels. So it's not like if it was a TV or a projector, you'd have to replace the whole thing. With this, I can just replace that one panel that's not as expensive as replacing the whole thing.
All right, great. But what about the other equipment, speakers, amplifiers?
Usually it's between a 2 and a 3 year manufacturer warranty. I could look into maybe buying, like we buy ADP for the Chromebooks. We could look into increasing the warranty time on that. I mean, that would probably have a cost, but I could look into that. I mean, normally you get 2 or 3 years of manufacturer warranty. Yep.
Sorry, no question. So that's
Sure.
That's replacement equipment, but in terms of labor, like I'm sure, our staff probably is not gonna sit here and try to.
You'd be surprised at my team we fix. So, I mean, honestly, if something goes, I mean, if we need to get it physically fixed, but replacing those panels and stuff, that's my team, or working with facilities, that we would do that. We work together as a team. I mean, and microphones and things like that, the lighting would be the same lighting with facilities. I mean, we replace them as needed. We have maintenance on a lot of our technology equipment, network stuff and all that we take care of.
Maybe if I could ask
Yeah.
Mr. Jordan's question a little differently, I think it might get the same idea, which is from an overall technology budget, right? Does this materially change, maintenance that you would expect, impact on your team, impact on the overall budget? Or is it a percentage of a very large budget?
I mean, we do have money in our budget for repairs and things like that. I don't see it being a big time consumer, like for my team. I mean, video walls are pretty, I mean, it's not something that should have issues. The microphones, I mean, that's possible. Some of that equipment, they break, they get dropped and things like that. So that's stuff we deal with, the microphones, other places and things like that. But I don't see it being a hardship or a financial burden on my budget to maintain this.
Just had a quick question about the lighting. This project looks really cool. The overhead lighting though, with the colors and all of that stuff, it looks really cool. Is that in addition to illumination that there is, or does that provide illumination, or is
So
that just
There's
kind of?
lights that are there. And then there's a T lighting. And also part of that is, and I didn't mention this one, is there's actually, I think, 14 spotlights. So when you do TED Talks and things like that, there's lighting in there that will like focus in to make it like a theater. And I apologize, I forgot to mention that when I talked about the T-bar lighting. So there's that, there's the regular lighting, but then there's also those spotlights that go, and I think it's 14 that are on there. Yeah.
And is it all part of one system? And in other words, what I'm trying to figure out is this bells and whistles, or is this all part of the safety the safety related illumination?
No, there are bells. I mean, definitely the T-bar lighting and stuff like that. That's the wow factor for, coming to space and making it, feel welcoming, but also be able to do the esports. Also, you can set lighting for, like I said, for, videos or whatever you want the space to feel like. It's LED, so you can make it any color you want. I mean, we have it all broken off. You saw broken off. I mean, there's a cost for the lighting that's on the floor and stuff like that. And then the spotlights, it's all broken down.
Okay.
The way they did the cost. So that answer your question?
Yeah, no, it does. I was trying to figure out what it was going to be used for. And you answered that. I appreciate it.
I have another question. In the contract, it indicates that there's that we're responsible for removal of flooring, for any kind of, background kind of power and electricity work and things like that. Like, what additional costs would there be aside from what is covered in the contract in order to prepare the space for this kind of a venue?
So can I answer that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Before we went through this, I talked with facilities. I actually talked to Mr. Watley and Mr. Chinta, and we went through talking about them removing the current seating. I think in there, they actually put the current seating that they would remove for us. The company said they removed, so that's something we could actually possibly deduct if facilities can do that. From talking to them about the flooring and things like that, there's nosing that needs to be pulled off. They're going to put the carpeting right over top of the current laminate, the flooring that's there. So there shouldn't be any, it's not like we need to do concrete work or anything like that.
Right.
It should be able to just go right over that, and then they'll put new nosing on there based on what they said in there. And then the electric, we talked with the electrician, and we're going to actually the idea is to actually try to run electric underneath the nosing, so students can plug in their Chromebooks and things. And that's something else we also talked to facilities about doing in-house, as well as the painting we're going to do in-house, covering the acoustic paneling and things like that. So we really are trying to do as much as we can ourselves. It's the big tech stuff that we can't do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. And then just back to the budget again, is this money that is already in our you're saying that it's from the bond, but it's already in the current budget, so it's not earmarked for anything at this point, or because I'm kind of.
Sure. So at the finance committee meetings, we've talked about kind of the ebb and flow of the first $10 million bond. One of the things that happened at the last presentation that I did was phase 2 of our high school roof came in a lot lower than anticipated. We shifted those funds down to the middle school project. Something that is moving forward with the phase 3 of the bond is a facilities grant, that Dewey is assisting us with, to offset the cost of the phase 3 of the roofing.
Okay.
That'll happen, I believe, in August or September.
Mhm.
So very confident we're getting that grant, so monies will be able to be shifted around. The way that, official statements are, written for our bond documents, while we earmark the money for specific projects, there's always a catch-all phrase for any other capital projects at the district. So that would fall into this. So we're shifting some money around in the first $10 million of the bond, fund, in order to accommodate this project.
Okay, so that would be in this budget year, correct? In the current budget year or the next budget?
It's not impacting the budget year. It's with our
Okay.
it's when we, got our 2023 bond. So that money is sitting in our bond fund right now to
Okay,
be used for the identified projects that we talked about.
okay,
And again, it's the catch-all for capital, any other capital project. So this is not impacting the general
It's not
fund at all.
okay.
No.
All right, thank you. That's helpful.
Just following up on that though, so this money theoretically could be in place for unexpected increases in the middle school project, going forward.
Possibly.
So,
But- Yes, possibly, but we've talked at length about the middle school budget.
Mhm.
And we talked last meeting about where that budget landed, and currently with the funding that we have, we're covering the middle school project.
okay,
So additional funding at this point, I'm confident that we're able to shift to absorb the $300,000+ for this project.
okay. I have a couple questions for the team. I noticed in here that there's discussion of a custom designed user interface. And my concern is that, are they designing it?
So can I answer your question? It's actually a different interface. I forget, it starts with a Q. It's in there. It's different than Extron. So there's Extron systems where you push button, and it's really hard because Extron has to come out to change the interface. It's like you have to go through them. So this system that they're suggesting, we can actually get trained on it, and we can actually change it ourselves, so we can take care of it. So I knew where you're going there with that one.
You'll have the source code, everything.
Yep,
so
we'll have
once
it
it's
all
done-
once we get trained. And they also said if we needed something fixed, they would do it, but better for us to be able to make the changes if we, because it's pretty, what you can do with that system is pretty amazing, because you can make changes to all of it, the sound, the video, the lighting, it's all in that same system, that interface. Yeah.
And that sort of rolls into my next question, which is what kind of support on site? So if a teacher wants to use this, a lot of bells and whistles, how difficult is it going to be for somebody to just?
So that's exactly why we want to go with this system. So it should be, if you want TED Talk, from what they told us, if you want TED Talk, you click a button and it turns the lighting and it sets it up for TED Talk. If you want to show a movie, you press a button, it puts it in movie mode. If you want to just do regular teaching mode, you press a button and it goes into teaching mode. So it's very user friendly, but we also do have, our technician on site at the high school that comes down to support the auditorium and the library and rooms all the time. So hopefully it's that easy. It's touch button, because we all know you're told it's easy and it's touch button, and then there's issues. So from talking to them, it feels like it's going to work a lot better like that Extron system would. But then we do have that human support as well.
Okay.
So
Yeah, just want to make sure it's going to be usable.
yeah, well, trust me, that's my reputation, right? I mean, yeah.
So just to add on to
Mhm.
Neil's question, so this is you should have custom configurations which they pre-configure, and then in addition to that, you can customize your own configuration based upon your needs. That's what you're
True.
saying.
I mean, and normally it's set it and forget it. The company will come in, they'll set it up for you in 3 different ways. And usually companies and districts never even touch it again, because they don't want to have to pay to have the people come out to make the changes. We're able to make the changes to the system. We'll get certified, and then a couple of the techs will get certified so they can make the changes. So we don't have to worry about that and bring in someone else and paying them to make those changes.
So in addition to that, so is the certification training, is that include? I don't see that here. Is
No,
that
that's not included, but I have money in my budget for training that I can cover that for next year. I mean, there's trainings that I offer my team to go to and things like that. So I haven't gotten that far with that piece, I'll be honest with you.
Okay, so could you, so could you estimate the type of training that you would need? I mean, and I know you can't do cost, but in terms of the classes or certifications they would need.
From talking to the company when we went through the quotes and everything with them, they stated that, you know, we suggest that you get trained, and they didn't give me an idea of time. From listening to them, it sounded like it was something that was a few hours of training or a day. It wasn't something that like they needed to go to like a 3-week course to get certified or anything like that. So they made it sound like it's something we could do pretty easily. And can I clarify? I did Tom back there. He looked up for me. So the warranty stuff, it's a 1-year manufacturer warranty, and we can pay for enhanced, you know, for more years if we want for warranty work. So I can look into that, see if it's worthwhile. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not, depending on the cost. So that's something I'm going to dig into a little bit to see if it's worth.
That warranty is just on parts. That's what I'm trying to
It's
get clarity
1 year. It's a 1-year warranty. Yep.
on.
Was it part? I'll cheat and use Tom.
1
year is
Okay, so
Everything.
Okay, gotcha.
And we do a lot of support stuff in-house. My team's really good. So, I mean, but we need to evaluate too, because we asked about, does it put stress on the team and things like that? That's something I need to evaluate and decide, you know, if it's, you know, also based on cost and stuff like that.
Is there a potential educational component for this beyond the space, but maintaining, interfacing with the equipment, using it for clubs, anything like that, to actually like deal with the interface? And
it sounds like it should be pretty, like you show people, hey, here's the interface. And, you know, a lot of times we'll put documentation or we'll send information out to people that are using the space so they have it available. You know, I'm big on having protocols and you know, step sheets and things like that. So we'll provide that. From what I'm expecting, it should be pretty user friendly. And as long as we have things set up the way we want them set up, it should be. They say it's touch. The reason why they suggested this interface is they wanted this to be easy, touch and go, and not be hard for the end user.
okay, thanks.
Can I ask, are there any other school districts who have used this company to do a similar project? Have you been able to look at any of that equipment to see, you know, the quality, just kind of if it delivers what we're expecting it to deliver?
So I do have a call out to Wissahickon. Wissahickon did use them. I don't think they put a video board up. It was more for their auditorium.
Okay.
They've used them. They have a bunch of other companies and districts they've worked with in the area, not necessarily Montgomery County. So if I can get, I mean, they come pretty, I mean, I'll be impressed. I would tell you, I was really impressed with the extensiveness they did with their quotes and the time they spent with us. I mean, you know, I've worked with a lot of different companies and I've been very impressed with their work ethic. They brought a whole team out to measure. I'll be honest, the time they spent with us and the work they did, it was more than the other people we had brought out, other vendors we had brought out. The other thing I wanted to mention too, I don't think this is CoStars funded. So this is a CoStars.
And then just, I mean, technology changes so quickly. What do you expect the livelihood of this project to be?
So this is pretty future ready aggressive.
Okay.
I would say 10 to 15 years. So I mean, the video board, they said should last, you know, close to 15 years. And I mean, some of the stuff we're putting into this room, I don't know if there's any other districts in this area that have that already. So this is this is sort of ahead of the game.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
If I could just speak to that, and I appreciate all the questions, and I think it's important for Brandon and Chuck to be able to provide good answers to these questions and any others that you might have. One of the things that I talk about with the faculty and with the administrative team is a phrase I use frequently is needs, wants, and wishes. And so we will talk about the fact that if it's a need, then you're going to get it immediately, right? If it's something that we need in the classroom for students, you're going to get it, or need for staff. Wants are things that we really want to try to do as much as possible in order to enhance learning. This is a wish, right? This is a high-end, future, aggressive, future-ready is a phrase we could certainly use. We did talk about the fact that we want to sort of think about this as, where do we think we need to be 5, 7, 10 years down the road with regard to technology and features? In addition to that, we talked about this being a versatile space for lots of different types of activities, instructional, professional learning, as well as student activities. And one of the areas that we didn't speak about is beyond the high school. So because of the proximity of our campus, for example, we have a strong middle school ELA TED Talk project. Those TED Talks in theory could be done at the high school, and really raise the bar on the expectations for student performance, and readiness and experience. With regard to movie nights and things like that at Erdenheim in the middle school, this is a 100-seat theater. And so in theory, just as today we had half the third grade going to a field trip, which tends to be the case. We tend not to take all 200 anywhere. We tend to take 100 at a time. In theory, we can have activities, whether they're small theater productions or small presentations or visiting authors, et cetera, occurring in this same space. So it's not only going to serve the needs of the high school, but will serve the needs of the district. In addition to that, and while I don't see us needing all sorts of lighting for this, we will, in a relatively short period of time, need another alternative location for board meetings. And so I've spoken with Brandon about the fact that this may be that alternative site for us for board meetings in the short term, because it's a small enough room that it will feel comfortable. That's my job, right? That's my job. But I think it would be a good space for board meetings. It'd be comfortable, but not overwhelmingly large. Some districts utilize auditoriums for that. And the high school auditorium would just swallow us up, I think, at a board meeting, with an 875 seat space. So we do think that there are lots of versatile ways to utilize this space for staff, for students, for community across multiple buildings.
And I guess that versatility too. So, being the boring principal, which I am, there's also, was not on the slide, there's 10 days of AP testing in there. There is 10 days of Keystone testing, SAT testing, pre-ACT, ACT. So, we have, 24 plus days of testing in there. We stopped the faculty meetings in there and put them in the library because it's beat up. Like, it's just the technology doesn't work. The seating's uncomfortable. So the boring part of the project is the floor. It needs to go. The seating it's kind of a hinged seating. That part we're excited about. And then 2, the building's 70 years old. So if you needed 3 meeting spaces tomorrow, I have 2. I have the large conference room, which is poorly named. It's a medium conference room with seating for 20, and it's beautiful. It's painted. I love the furniture. I love the carpet. It's a beautiful place. And then we have the LGI. The library is a meeting space, but it's the library. So if you wanted to have a meeting with 25 people and there's kids working in the library during lunch and learn, it's just tough to have a meeting. So we're really crunched for meeting spaces. If you look at a brand new high school like an Upper Dublin, which is 10 years old, or Souderton, which is 10 years old, they have 10, 15, 20 conference rooms. We have 1. And I'm not complaining, but we have when you're in that conference room, people walk in 4 or 5 times, the large group room too. So, we look to see if we can maximize the use of that room. We're just limited in the spaces that we have. Even in here, it's difficult. You have to set this up every night. People have to come in and put the tables in. They have to put and then at 8:30 tonight, they have to take everything back down. This will be ready to roll if you would want to have a board retreat in there or something along those lines over the summer. You walk in, you turn the system on, and off you go. And that's kind of the dream. When I taught at Mount St. Joe's, when I taught history, we had a virtual field trip with veterans from D-Day, and they were on the beaches in France. And there were veterans speaking to my students at Mount St. Joe's on a video screen in a room like this. It was very cool. Obviously, we're not going to France. And they spoke on the beaches of Normandy to our students, and there they were on the screen. We can do all those type of things, virtual field trips, TED Talks. Like I said, you can have a board retreat in there. It can be used as a team room. We use it now during lunch and learn. We want to make it as versatile and agile a room as it can be. So, but like I said, we're really pressed with areas to meet at the high school.
Could I just add one thing? I'm sorry, just to Dr. Yanikov's point. It sounds like it's a wish tonight, but, and if you could speak to this, that'd be great, but at what point, and I think this is something for all of us to consider, at what point does it become a want and then a need? Right? So and it sounds like that might be kind of soon. I don't know anything about this, but if you could, I mean, if anybody could speak to it, that'd be great.
So,
Well-
well, we're gonna answer that.
I mean, I'm happy to say, yeah, I agree with you. It is a wish tonight because this is a higher end space. This will be, if it's approved tonight, the most future ready space we have in the district. There's no question about it. From a technological standpoint, from an experiential standpoint, it will be future ready, but it will be used. Part of the reason why we brought it here tonight is because the timing right now with delivery is that we want it ready for the first day of school for staff in order to provide professional development in that space. For example, new teacher induction. And in order to do that, the timing right now, we're kind of up against it. There's no doubt that it's a want in the immediate future. It doesn't necessarily need all of the bells and whistles to meet the want category. But we do think that they are reasonable asks at this point, given the fact that we see where the future is headed with technology in these spaces and want to be able to offer that to our students and to our staff. Need is probably a little further down the road, but I would say that it's in the very short term, a want. Agreed.
So, in addition to that, so the question for me would be, when is the drop dead start date? And when are you looking to complete so that, because it's not, see there.
So if it's approved tonight, Brandon will put the order in tomorrow. Because
Yep.
we're trying to make sure that the furniture in particular, which is the toughest thing for us to get of all the components, are the chairs.
Yeah,
And
we were
so
told 9 months, and they said that they could actually, if we can move quickly, they said to get it in by Labor Day.
initially our plan was to bring this to a property committee meeting, have the conversation, and then try to get everything in place over the summer, because the other component of this is the room is utilized every day at the high school. And so from a timing standpoint, if we can get it done by the end of the summer, then we go now. If we can't get it done by the end of the summer, then we have to wait till winter break. And even then is a question mark, because it have to be able to be completed in a week. And so it may be more likely that it would be summer of 25 if we can't get it done this summer. And so because of the timing, I asked the team to be ready more quickly so that we could try to get this in place for the start of the new school year. And so that's why we're asking you tonight.
So I just have one other question. For the $370,000 that this project looks like it costs, are there other needs and wants on the list right now, particularly needs that would require this amount of funding?
No, we feel that the budget that the finance committee will be reviewing on Thursday morning meets all of our needs and a number of our wants.
Okay.
And so this is an area that we really feel like we can grow in the areas I've described, within the budget that we have, within the resources that we have, in a way that's responsible, but also forward thinking. So we're excited about it, and hope you will be too.
I want to build on Dr. Taratuski's question. If there are aspects of the project that feel more like needs, like the furniture's outdated, the tech doesn't work, are there ways in which we could conditionally approve, like, yes, let's renovate the space and get new furniture in, but understand more about the high dollar ticket items can those be separated on a timeline and a motion tonight so that you guys can move forward with the long poll items? But we could do a little bit more trade-off discussion on the 16:9 versus an alternative that might be less money? Or is this like an all or nothing package from this vendor and we feel like this is the best we're gonna do?
You want to
We
answer
can,
that?
so I asked that question because I knew we were coming here very quickly to you all, and we can definitely pare it down. Actually, on the quote, you'll see they gave numbers like reduction numbers based on bringing the size of the screen down. So that's actually in the quote you have. So, you know, and if we wanted to change the lighting or stuff like that, we could definitely pare this down for sure.
I think, you know, the reason why we brought it to you as a package is because we do think the total package meets all of the different needs that we're looking for. And I do think, and you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, that the furniture, which would be a need, right? And the carpeting and the facilities sort of environmental impacts, all of that is the substantive cost of the project. The technology or the bells and whistles, but it sort of makes the room worth using beyond the traditional uses of the room currently. And so we are asking for the package, the total package. We do understand if the board feels like you need more time, if that's the case, we would probably push this back a year, because the idea of getting this all done in the week of winter break is probably not realistic. And so, again, we feel like we've got the resources, we have a good plan in place, and right now we have the timing to do it in order to start the school year with it. So that's the ask. But if you felt like you needed more time to sort of look more closely at some of the different components, then we would bring it to the next property committee meeting, but that would probably push us out of the window of completion by the end of the summer.
So I'm teetering back and forth here. I hear that it's a wish, but I also heard a lot of needs. I've been in that room. It's a terrible room for a parent meeting. So there are needs. We obviously don't need to spend all of this to address those needs, but you know, you led off with the esports. And I mean, I thought that that was one of the main compelling arguments. You know, if we were looking at a space for our basketball team to play or our soccer teams to play and make sure that they've got a place to connect at the school, we'd probably be having a different conversation. So I'm really trying to understand how, and remembering how excited that group of students were when they came in here, and how their sense of belonging was evident as they talked about how much they like that program. Like, there are a lot of arguments to not delay. Like, we could easily say, hey, you know, this money doesn't need to be spent because we can do it later. But if you spend money renovating a space and you only go a part of the way, you're spending more later, or you're not doing anything. And, you know, it's a missed opportunity. So I'm struggling around this. And I know I'm just kind of talking, you know, out loud. Well, you're always talking out loud, but anyway.
Neil, let me add, because I think you make a good point. Like, we collectively delayed a lot of maintenance projects
Yeah.
during the COVID wildness. And several things went up materially in cost.
Buses,
Right?
yeah.
Buses is a great example, right? We intentionally delayed because we felt like there were alternative uses of funds that were necessary.
Yeah.
But you end up paying more in the future.
It's a potential missed opportunity.
Well, and let me say this. The administrative team knows this. I have a very high bar for needs. So to be fair, I agree with you. The room is a hot mess.
Yeah.
Okay. It is uncomfortable. It is poorly designed. It is barely functional at this point. Dr. Rittenhouse has been cautious in his comments about a space that we use every day for student learning. So I want to be careful. I mean, for me, needs are curricular materials, the ELA materials you've approved, the science materials on the agenda. Those are core essential needs. So maybe it's more of want than wish, but some of the components are really future ready. It's going to set us apart with regard to the space. That said, we do feel like we will get fantastic use out of the space. And you are correct. If we delay, it may cost us more down the road than it will currently cost us. We do think, having done the analysis of the project, that Mr. Lutz has worked really hard with the facilities team to figure out how to cut costs in various areas. He shared some of that. Our internal electrician, our internal painters, our own maintenance team doing some of the demolition work that's needed. So we are trying to be cost effective in the project as a whole. And we're also trying to look at funding that doesn't add debt to the district or in any other way sort of raise the stakes with regard to this project. So we do feel it's well within our current resources, appropriate and reasonable, or I wouldn't have put it on the agenda for tonight. We do think that the time is now to do the project. We do, believe that it's a worthwhile project. But when I think about needs, it's a different level. Needs are essential. It's not essential. We have a space that we currently put students in every day to learn, but the space that we have will not meet the needs that we're currently describing for other types of activities. We just can't do it there right now.
So, thank you, Karen, and everyone for your comments and really, delving in some of the questions that we needed to ask, for further explanation. And thank you for your, responses. But I really think that, moving this forward in total, will meet the needs of many students and, staff, and parents and board. And paring it down and just doing some of this and a little of that, also giving us a higher cost next year, I don't think would be or serve this district well. We have students that are in esports. We have students that I'm always thinking and speaking about the theater, but we have students that are theater and productions. We have students that are doing TED Talks. We have students that we want to be prepared to go into colleges and have experience with this type of technology, so that when they go on those campuses, they are not behind, that they are forward. And that does make a difference when you go into those collegiate spaces. Knowing this technology, having used this technology is important and will set our students apart from other students that will come to other colleges with that lack of experience and preparation. So I hear what everyone is saying. I think all of those questions are important to ask. But after hearing what our questions are and our concerns are and hearing the explanation, I'm thinking more towards what's going to benefit the students in this district to stand out as Springfield and be able to be successful and be competitive and getting into the spaces where Springfield students should go. And so that's my.
So I do think that it's a more so a want need category. I'm just highly concerned about the additional costs that will be borne or potentially could be borne to this school district as a result of it sounds to me like the maintenance, especially the maintenance and potential issues that could potentially go down the road with this equipment. That's really where I would like to see more wording contractually in terms of where I guess this organization or this group stands with the maintenance and support of the equipment in addition to the training, because that's the overall cost of this project, if you understand. So I'm just kind of skeptical in regards to that, because from my background, I've seen some stuff happen. So I just want to make sure that those potential pitfalls doesn't occur here with our school district. That's it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, Mr. Jordan. And I do, Mr. Lutz has been a little bit modest about our tech team. We currently have a one-to-one Chromebook situation and staff devices, and we very rarely have to send things out. Our team pretty much fixes everything. And our maintenance team does the same with facilities related items. We resist the urge to go outside to contract for most of our maintenance, whether that's technology or facilities. We have a carpenter who's amazing, who does that kind of internal work for us that oftentimes other districts will contract out. We do most of our own tech work around our iPads and our Chromebooks. So I don't know if you want to speak to that at all, but
Said, if you want, you can actually talk to one of the two people that will be working on the equipment. Can I let Tom? Is it all right if Tom?
as far as the maintenance of the
Yeah,
the ongoing
and
maintenance of
yep.
equipment, sure.
You want to? He's also in the background here.
So, hi, Mr. Jordan. For those of you who don't know, my name is Tom Wexler. I've been with the district for 15 years in the technology department, and I'm one of the primary people that supports the district's audiovisual systems. So when there's a theatrical light that goes out in the high school or there's a problem in the LGI, myself and one of our brand new techs, Jack Wren, are the people that fix it. Right now, when it gets to something that I don't know how to do, we don't have somebody to go to support. So like the laptops in front of you, we can go to HP, we can go to one of our vendors. One of the things that this company, Illuminated Integration, does different from the other people. So one of your questions was with the support contract. So they use, this original quote is 87 pages. They included spec sheets for every single piece of hardware that they're going to provide. And I believe that Dr. Yannicone decided we're going to spare you from every single ohm rating on the amplifiers and the microphones. So one of the pages in that document is that Illuminated Integration will provide the first year of support. My expectation as one of the people that will support this and fix it is that this is, to what Mr. Lutz said, this is a system that will work. It should not need ongoing support. Our LGI space currently, as it's starting to get towards the end of life, typically has 3 to 5 service calls each year. And it is getting, as the parts get out of warranty, as the technology is more difficult to support, that becomes problematic. And it is one of the spaces that we can't service as readily as we would other spaces. So in addition to that, as what Mr. Lutz said, so my expectation is the person that Dr. Ritt would call and go, Tom, this isn't working, is that one, it's easy enough for any teacher, any staff member, any student to come in and use. To your point, Mr. DeFranco, that there are, if there's students that want to learn the back end, we have students that we hire through the summer work. We're happy to show them. We are developing, I know as part of the clubs, there's the technical theater portion with our plays that those students I work alongside, as does Mr. Arner, would happily show them, here's how it works, here's why we designed this. And any student that wants to learn that, yes, we're all in, and that's, our team is in the building helping that. We also, so we want a space that will work. We want a space that a vendor that we are going to know that we can go to when something goes wrong. In technology, it's rarely the if, it's the when. And that, so the companies that our team has vetted, including other vendors that we've worked with in the past, that we know their service history, that we have felt comfortable that this vendor, in addition to, they understand the industry specific technology, when it comes to theatrical and it comes to some lighting, that it will be our expectation is it will be installed correctly, or else we will keep having them back here to say, fix it. As is standard, I would say with any project that we have, we make sure that it is to our full and solid satisfaction. And that we have the resource that should there be something that our team cannot fix, that we know that it can be fixed quickly. And so that way, Dr. Rittenhouse and his team have the functional space. Does that help answer, does that help answer some of your questions on the technical side and where we expect the support and what we believe this company can do?
Yes, it did answer the question. Thank you, appreciate it.
Cool. Thank you. So I want to thank I really appreciate all of the questions and how invested the board is in making sure that this is a meaningful, functional, appropriate space for students. We'll support whatever ultimately you decide in tonight's vote, and we'll move forward from there. So.
I just wanted to comment on our discussion here in that this is the work that usually gets done in committee. This is something that would have been brought to academic affairs or finance or something for us to do this. And I think that this is important for us to be comfortable with making these decisions, to kind of understand the financial implications, current and future, the technological implications, the implications for academic services for our students. So this is what happens.
Absolutely. And we appreciate the impromptu kind of sort of property committee meeting happening right now. And again, I apologize that we didn't actually call a committee meeting, but we really felt timing wise, given the feedback we were giving, that it was important that we brought it to you this evening.
I have a final comment on this, and then I'll let you close out with the spotlight.
Okay.
But thank you both for a great presentation on the project. It is a pretty stunning project, and I think the basics of it are a need for the district. The most compelling thing I heard was Dr. Rittenhouse say, we've got a 70-year-old building. And if it were if it were a 10-year-old building, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation. So that is meaningful as we think about just the standard upkeep for an aging property that we have in general, that some of these investments are going to be required from time to time. I don't know how the board will vote this evening. In any case, I would suggest that at the next property committee meeting, we talk about what options there would be to pare down the project, optionality within the contract. And then secondly, I think a plan for like maintenance and upkeep, and really what it means in terms of the overall focus of your team and budget, because it may be a very small piece, given the size of the district. So that's really it.
I appreciate that. Yeah, the motion is a motion not to exceed. And so certainly, we're anticipating a property committee meeting in the next few weeks. There are some items that we want to make sure get ordered so that they are able to be installed and arrive in the summertime. But a motion not to exceed allows us to get started and then discuss more fully at property committee. Yeah. Okay.
Great.
All right, I'm going to shift. Thank you very much. I'm going to shift to our spotlight. Thank you for being so patient. So we have Kimberly Keel here from Cades Margolis. She's with us tonight to recognize Emily Care for a significant award that Emily recently received through PASPA, her professional organization. Emily has served as the Director of Human Resources for the district for 12 years. During her tenure, she has been an active participant in the county, state, and national organizations associated with her role. Currently, she serves as the president of the Southeastern chapter of our healthcare consortium. And as a senior member in the county, she is frequently called upon by her peers to offer guidance in matters related to contract negotiations, personnel management, recruitment and retention of staff, and systems development. She is highly regarded as a leader as well within our school district, including the administrative team, professional, and support staff. Emily has been successful in the development of solutions to personnel issues on the local, state, and national level, most especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. Despite the tremendous pressures brought forth during that time, Emily maintained a clear focus on staff and student health and well-being, and on the consistent application of county, state, and federal guidance, of which you may recall there was plenty. When challenges arose during extended absences of staff, Emily strategized ways to recruit new staff as substitutes and enter into contracts with regional agencies to fill difficult positions at all levels of our district. She instituted tracking systems that were modeled by her peers across the region and communicated clearly and effectively with our staff, building leaders, school nurses, and district administration, engendering confidence at every level. A person of deep character and conviction, she really is the conscience of the administrative team. I can think of no one more qualified for recognition than Emily. I understand that this award is presented to someone who shares its namesake's ability to combine great technical knowledge and excellent relationship skills. So Emily was named as the William K. Dollar Award recipient at PASPA, which is an award that recognizes the importance of excellence and professionalism in the field of school human resources. And William Dowler was one of the founders and a charter member of PASPA. And so this is a real sort of emotional award for the recipient to receive. Bill Dowler set the benchmark that PASPA administrators recognize as the goal of its members. The purpose of the award is to recognize a practicing school personnel or HR professional who's a member of the association. And this award was given at the annual conference. I've got the plaque here, and Kimberly we can go over here to the podium if you like. Kimberly has a presentation for the district as well on behalf of Emily. So come on up. Do you want to come over? Sure. Okay. Come on over here. You got the fancy photo, you might as well use it. No, don't be so funny.
Well, you know, you have a very deserving recipient here based on everything you just heard. Yeah, Kate Margolis, we had the honor of presenting this to Emily at the conference in February, and we appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight to support her as well. Kate Margolis is honored to be a part of this sponsorship, but we know that really it's Emily that had the hard work that she put in, her dedication, the leadership, all the qualities that you look for, and really her overall dedication to her profession. We've known Emily for a number of years now, so it's always exciting when we know the recipient, and I'm honored to be here and just know that this is a very well-deserved award, Emily. So congratulations.
All right. So Emily, congratulations. And Mr. Bedard, I don't know if you would like to say anything.
I can tell that Ms. Kerr loves praise. So I would just add on behalf of the board, you are an excellent support for our team as well, and the whole district, and what a wonderful accolade to recognize that. So congratulations.
And there is a real check that comes along. Does get to spend it.
Yes. And Dr. Ritt, I appreciate you staying on. Why don't we go out in front of the podium and we can take a nice photo. Congratulations again, Emily. Thank you. And I'm going to hand you back this microphone. Usually get on that side. With that, I conclude my report. Apologies for the language.
Congrats again, Ms. Kerr.
Congratulations.
Okay, we've now reached public comments on agenda items. Usually 1 hour and 15 minutes earlier. We are now ready to hear from the public. Mr. Needleman.
Thank you, Mr. Bedard. What's a little time between friends, right? So we're gonna turn now to comments on agenda items. I just want to remind everybody, we do have a 3-minute time limit, and if you want to speak on an agenda item, I'll ask that you identify yourself and where you live in the township. Nobody has signed up to speak in person, so I'll look to the folks joining us online and see if anyone wants to speak on anything, and I'll ask if so, please raise a hand, digitally at least. And I don't see any, so maybe we can give it another 30 seconds or so and then move on. All right.
All right, seeing no hands, we'll move into our agenda items for this evening. We have approval of minutes. The recommended action, the Board of School Directors approves the board minutes from March 19th, 2024 for the regular board meeting. Is there a motion? Thank you. A second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Minutes are good. Our treasurer's report. Recommended action, the Board of School Directors approves the March 31st, 2024 treasurer's report per the file attachment. Is there a motion? Thank you. A second. Any comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Very good. We'll move to human resources. Our first item is our personnel file. The recommended action. The Board of School Directors approves the following personnel as presented in the attachment. Get me every time with this word. Certificated personnel, support personnel, temporary personnel, 2024 extended year program personnel, extra pay for extra responsibilities for 23-24, also for 24-25, and then conference workshop attendance. Is there a motion? Lots of them in a second. Any comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Personnel file is good to go. Superintendent employment contract recommended action. The Board of School Directors approves amendment number 1 to the contract for employment between the School District of Springfield Township and Dr. Mary Jo Yannicone. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Again, lots. Any seconds? Thank you. Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And any abstentions? Very good. Moving to academic affairs, where we have a robust number of items here. Our first recommended action is school year calendars. The Board of School Directors approves the amended 2024-2025 and 2025-2026 school year calendars as recommended by Academic Affairs. Is there a motion? Thank you. In a second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Very good. Not sure why we would have an abstention on the school year calendar, but it's just on my list of things to say. For 2026-27 school year calendar, the recommended action. The Board of School Directors approves the 2026-2027 school year calendar. Is there a motion? Thank you. In a second. Any comments? Questions?
I have a comment. I just want to say I don't love it, but I get it. I wish it could be done a different way.
We did, yeah.
And this one in particular is prior to Labor Day start because it's a late Labor Day. Makes it very challenging to finish out school.
We'll be happy to do
Do you want me to allow abstentions on this one?
No, I get it. I'm not against it. I just wish we could have our cake and eat it too.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Very good. Motion will pass. Our next subject, high school computer science text. On academic affairs, the Board of School Directors, upon recommendation from the Academic Affairs Committee, approves the agreement and purchase of Starting Out with Python 2021 for use as the primary text for computing for the humanities. The purchase includes 30 texts and online teacher resources for a cost of $5,044.92 as per the attached. Is there a motion? Thank you. In a second. Any comments or questions? Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And any abstentions? Very good. That will pass. We go to high school English language arts. Recommended action here is the Board of School Directors, upon recommendation from the Academic Affairs Committee, approves the agreement and purchase of classroom independent reading collections from Perfection Learning for the use as the supplemental resources for the HS English language arts courses. The purchase includes collections for 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade learners for a total cost of $13,169.09 as per the attached. Is there a motion? Thank you. And thanks for making this one very long to read. And the second. Any comments or questions on the English language arts? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And any abstentions? Great. Will pass. Our next, K through 8 math resources. Recommended action, the Board of School Directors, upon recommendation from the Academic Affairs Committee, approves the 2-year extension of Savas and Vision Mathematics for grades K through 8. The purchase includes hard copy and online student and teacher resources for a cost of $135,764.20 as per the attached. Is there a motion? Thank you, and a second.
Second.
Any comments or questions on our K through 8 math resource? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And any abstentions? Okay, that will pass. Moving next to AP Psychology. The recommended action here is the Board of School Directors, upon recommendation from the Academic Affairs Committee, approves the agreement and purchase of Myers Psychology for the AP course 4th edition for use as the primary text for AP Psychology. The purchase includes 30 texts and a 6-year agreement for online teacher and student digital resources for a cost of $6,267.87 as per the attached. Is there a motion? And a second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Very good, that will pass. Next, middle school English language arts. Recommended action, the Board of School Directors, upon the recommendation of Academic Affairs Committee, approves the 8-year agreement with Amplify ELA for grade 6. The purchase includes hard copy and online student and teacher resources for a cost of $50,192.64 as per the attached. Is there a motion? Thank you, and a second. Any comments or questions on middle school English language arts? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Very good. Pass. Item number 8 under academic affairs. You guys are busy. Linkit renewal. Recommended action, the Board of School Directors, upon recommendation from Academic Affairs Committee, approves the renewal agreement with Linkit, an assessment management and data analytics platform for district-wide use in the 2024-2025 school year at a cost of $40,532 as per the attached. Is there a motion? Motion. Thank you, and a second. Any comments or questions on Linkit? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, that will pass. Item 9, Renaissance renewal. Recommended action. Board of School Directors, upon the recommendation of Academic Affairs Committee, approves the renewal agreement with Renaissance, an integrated platform for student assessment, learning, and growth, which includes the STAR Comprehensive Suite subscription and Freckle Math for district-wide use in the 2024-2025 school year at a cost of $47,603.49 as per the attached. Is there a motion? Thank you, and a second. Any comments or questions? Very good. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And any abstentions? That will pass. Number 10, Special Education Services. Recommended action, the Board of School Directors approves the Special Education Services Agreement between the Bucks County Intermediate Unit Number 22 and Springfield Township School District for the 2024-2025 school year for student 2024-0416-01. Is there a motion? Thank you. And a second. Any comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And any abstentions? All right, the service agreement will pass. And that concludes academic affairs. Excellent work, everyone. We'll now move on to our finance section, starting with an engagement letter with Fox Rothschild. Recommended action here. The Board of School Directors approves the appointment of Fox Rothschild LLP as solicitor for the school district of Springfield Township for the period of July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025, based upon the following: a retainer of $22,500 per year, a base hourly rate of $200, alternative rates in accordance with the attached engagement letter, and rates as established by the insurance carrier where Fox Rothschild LLC is an approved provider. Your motion. Motion. And a second. Second. Any comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you very much. Congratulations. Next, another Fox Rothschild notice here. Recommended action. The Board of School Directors approves the HIPAA Business Associate Agreement between the School District of Springfield Township and Fox Rothschild LLP as a result of Fox Rothschild LLP handling cases that involve protected health information on behalf of the district. Is there a motion? And a second? Second. Any comments or questions? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And any abstentions? Okay, that will pass. Thank you. Next, insurance. Recommended action here. The Board of School Directors approves the 2024-2025 renewal of the sports and student accident insurance policies from Axis Insurance Company through All Risk LTS as follows: accident and health coverage at an annual cost of $6,335 and catastrophic accident coverage at an annual cost of $525. Is there a motion? Motion. Thank you. And a second. Any? Got it. Any comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Any abstentions? Excuse me. We're good. That concludes finance section. We'll move on to policy. First item is 200 level policies. The recommended action. The Board of School Directors approves the revisions of the following 200 level policies as recommended. Policy 200, enrollment of students. Policy 202, eligibility of non-resident students. Policy 217, graduation. Is there a motion? Thank you. In a second. Any comments or questions on the 200s? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Our next subject, new 200 level policy. This is the recommended action. The Board of School Directors approves the first reading of policy 254, educational opportunity for military children. Is there a motion? Thank you. In a second. Any comments or questions on this first motion? Excuse me, the first reading of this policy. Great. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that will pass. Next, we have some revised 600 level policies. Recommended action, the Board of School Directors approves revision to policy 610, purchases subject to bid quotation as recommended in the attachment. Is there a motion? Motion. Thank you. And a second. Any comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that will pass. Our next, number 5, revised 800 level policies. Oh, wait, I missed one. Item number 4. Item number 4. Get the glasses on, going squirrely-eyed. Item number 4, revised 600 level. The recommended action here, the Board of School Directors approves the revisions to the attachment to policy 626 procurement for federal programs. Is there a motion? Thank you. In a second. Any comments or questions on our procurement policy? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Our next revised 800 level policy. The recommended action here is the Board of School Directors approves the revisions to policy 810 transportation as recommended. Is there a motion? In a second. Any comments or questions on the transportation policy? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That will pass. Revised 900 level policy. Recommended action here. The Board of School Directors approves the first reading of revised policy 903, public comment in board meetings as recommended. Is there a motion? Thank you. And a second. Any comments or questions on the revisions to the comment and board meeting? Okay, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, first reading will pass. And next, under property, we have the recommended action on illuminated integration. Recommended action. The Board of School Directors approves illuminated integration to perform renovation and technology upgrades for the high school large group instruction space under CoStar's contract 034 E22163, not to exceed $390,000. Is there a motion? Thank you. In a second. Any comments or questions before we vote?
I just have one question. I see that it says not to exceed 390,000. The contract itself was 370. Where's the difference, I guess?
Yes, we wanted to just give ourselves a little bit of wiggle room so that we wouldn't have to bring it back to the board if any of the numbers shifted at all.
Okay.
Just to clarify, there's no expected escalation costs. This would be change orders.
Yeah. No, typically we try to give ourselves a little bit of a cushion in contracts like this so that we don't have to come back a second time, but we do anticipate it being where they said it would be, which is 370 or less. We can take a look at that.
And I just want to reiterate the request at next property meeting that we would review any anticipated maintenance, how that would be covered under our existing budgets and existing staffing, and then a view on what aspects of the project could be altered.
Yes,
Okay.
understood.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, since there was so much robust discussion, let's do a roll call vote on this one. If that works for you, Ms. Green. Sorry to throw a curveball.
Okay. Got it. Mr. Needleman,
I vote aye in favor.
Mr. DeFranco, Mrs. Green,
Aye.
Mrs. Hubley,
Aye.
Dr. Taratusky, Mr. Bedard,
Aye.
Mrs. Bell, Mr. Jordan. Thank you.
Effective presentation today. Okay, we'll now move to public comment on non-agenda items. And Mr. Needham, I'll turn over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Bedard. So at this time, we'll take comment on non-agenda items. The same rules apply as before. I'll just remind folks that if you do want to make a comment, please, I'll ask that you keep your comment to 3 minutes, and please let me know where you live in the township, or let us know where you live in the township. I don't see anyone has signed up to speak in person, so I'll look to the folks joining us online. And again, if you do want to make a comment, please raise a digital hand, as it were. I don't see any hands raised, so maybe we can give it a few more seconds and then close things out. All right.
All right, thank you, Mr. Needleman. A couple of announcements. We have some future board meetings On the horizon, on Tuesday, May 7th, 2024, we have an interim board meeting scheduled that will continue to be hybrid. And we have our regular board meeting upcoming on Tuesday, May 21st, 2024, also hybrid. We do invite the public to come to these wonderful and robust discussion meetings like we had tonight. And they are held here at the Audion, which is located in the middle school next to the cafeteria. And we do have some future committee meeting dates on the calendar for those who are excited about an 8 a.m. Finance Committee meeting. We have one this week, Thursday, April 18th, 2024. That is fully virtual, so you can call in from the comfort of your home or office. And we do have Academic Affairs Committee coming up on Tuesday, May 14th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. That is also virtual because the Academic Affairs Committee just keeps on going. You guys are busy. Since we've had such a robust meeting tonight, I'm going to keep my closing statement to a big old thank you for tuning in, and I appreciate the robust dialogue and discussion. Any other comments or questions from the board this evening?
Good night.
Dr. Yannicone, any?
I just want to take a moment to say thank you to Mr. Sultanic and the team at Fox Rothschild, who do a fantastic job of representing us. We utilize your services, as you know, on a regular basis. And so.
And your predictions on the length of board meetings, however.
I apologize for our earlier conversation today and misleading you with regard to this meeting.
Be out in less than an hour.
I thought for sure we'd be out after the township, but apparently the township meeting beat us this evening. I do appreciate the robust conversation and dialogue, and I also appreciate the yay vote on illuminated integration. We promise you won't regret it, especially when we're having board meetings there in the relatively near future. Thank you very much.
Bye.